We need that to start the day, right? We're going to need that and coffee in the morning and another adult beverage late afternoon at night to get through the next 4 years. So, what am I going to talk about today? Racism, right? We know it exists, it's in our history books, right? Although Governor Ron DeSantis said what? That slavery had its benefits because they learned a trade. Oh, God, the ignorance on these people. But I've always debated whether President Trump is a racist. Now, there's been statements made in the past by others, including his former lawyer Michael Cohen, who I haven't heard much about lately. I'm wondering if he's actually keeping a low profile on purpose to avoid more retribution. The debates, we saw that moment with the Proud Boys where he said stand back and stand down. That was like, oh my God. And then when was it? I guess in the Trump Tower lobby when he said there's good people on both sides. He's made those statements, and I've always been like, is he just playing to the base, or he's really standing behind this? Because he is a liar. So I wondered maybe this is just part of the lie, right? Just continue, make the base think happy, throw some QAnon quotes in there every once in a while. The storm is coming, and it's all nonsense, right? Well, what if I told you that there's massive deportations going on, and of course it relates to Hispanics, whether it's the Mexicans, Guatemalans, brown skinned people, right? Brown skin like myself here. Um, is that is that racism? No, you could argue that they're in here illegally. They need to go through the process, seek asylum, etc. So I get that. I get that argument. Do I agree with the mass deportation? No. I think it's going to be an economic fallout like we cannot even begin to imagine. Just one example. This happened in 2016, maybe not 2016, but his first term, where the tariffs resulted in farmers losing billions of dollars and getting a bailout. Now with USAID, I see that $2 billion comes from farmers, with produce and products that are made here that are used for USAID. So money was being given out to other countries that needed it, sure, but it was also helping out our own. So that's an example. I think there's going to be a huge economic fallout at the end of the day. But let's talk about racism here for a second. So the deportations are taking place. What if I told you that President Trump signed an executive order to allow white people to repatriate to the United States? I thought we were getting rid of immigration. Yeah, but they're white. So you might say, you're crazy. It's not crazy because this was the latest executive order signed over the weekend. Of course, Elon Musk, who is a white South African, he a little background on this. It's written into their constitution where basically reparations were made. 80%, no, 70% of the land is owned by whites, which are the minority, and 80% of the population is black. So they own a very small percentage of the land. So what Trump did was sign an executive order where these white South Africans, which of course are descendants from Europe, can repatriate to the U.S. if they want. Reverse discrimination, affirmative action type program. Now, for the first time, because I have been giving him the doubt, and I am no supporter, let's be clear. But now, for the first time, yeah, I'll reach the conclusion that unfortunately we have a racist president. Now, the sad part about this is people feel emboldened. I've heard of situations where customers react to certain minorities and say certain derogatory terms. Might be in traffic. ICE is running around asking people questions. Where are you from? This is this and that. But even more so, you have some states. I forgot which state it was now, so excuse me on that one. I just read about it maybe a few weeks ago. Is it Nebraska? I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. But kind of like a hotline, which when they did a hotline for ICE, Tell my wife they're going to bombard that with calls, and there's endless calls on social media. Look it up, where people are like changing their voices and saying there's an immigrant in the White House. His name is Elon Musk. All this type of stuff. It is hilarious. You have to poke fun out of it, but other states are doing a similar thing where you can turn in immigrants. So you can just imagine what that's going to be. You hate your neighbor, whatever the situation is. They're going to be calling ICE on these people. But again, why wouldn't they feel emboldened when the president is throwing out everybody who's brown skin and Latin descent, but bringing in people that are descendants of Europeans and are white South Africans? Because he's a racist. Enjoy your coffee. You deserve it. And I'll come back to you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.